How are you, Malcolm?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Just I'll give you the floor. How you feeling? What's going through your mind?
Oh man, I mean, I feel great. It's been a long year, man. One that's taken a lot of sacrifice, a lot of work, a lot of trust and faith for us to be able to bring that Lombardi Trophy back to the city of Philadelphia, man. We couldn't ask for a better blessing.
So let's take that one at a time here. Okay, sacrifice. What do you guys? What do you refer to when you say that? What sacrifices?
Well, we think about what this team, was able to start doing, back in OTAs in April, and the commitment that we made, to our voluntary workouts, the OTAs, the training camp, throughout the time during the season, not only on the field but off the field, the time away from the family, the time we invested in each other, the relationships, all of that takes, sacrifice. And, it's times like this where you get to go back to kind of where you laid that foundation at.
And to what do you refer with trust and faith, then, Malcolm?
And trust and faith comes, when trials come and adversities come. We lost so many players. Before we even made it to the Carson Wentz part, we had already lost our All-Pro, probably Hall of Fame tackle, left tackle. We also lost Darren Sproles, who could be a Hall of Fame returner. We lost Chris Maragos, who, arguably is one of the best special teams players in the league. Lost our starting kicker. Lost our starting middle linebacker. So you're talking about, all of these leaders, captains, and we had to have enough faith that the next guy was going to come in and perform. We had to trust each other to do our jobs, to have faith in our team and what we were capable of. And then at the end of the year, you lose Carson Wentz and all those lessons that we had learned. It just really built us for the stage.
Malcolm Jenkins here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, what role did you play in maintaining all of that trust, faith? Where did you fit into this equation? Do you think, Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, for me as a leader on the team, I think it was very important for me to just be the same guy every day. We got some young guys on the team, but we got a lot of veterans as well. And I think the younger guys on the team usually look at the veterans in hard times to see how they react. And when they look at us, they see myself, Chris Long, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, just going about our work like everything is cool. Then they usually follow suit, and that's kind of what we did all year. Is just kind of focus on the task at hand, whether that was practice, preparation, the game, 1 week at a time, and just going to compete and having more fun than anybody else in this league. And it was so for me, it was really really easy, even with all the things that were going on around us. Being able to have all of these other leaders and veterans who won games before, been in these situations, made it very, very easy for any leader in this locker room.
Well, let's talk about the things going on around you, Malcolm, and obviously the social activism, the protests, the President of the United States chiming in time and time again. Do you feel a sense of vindication that at the end of the day, you're the ones hoisting the Lombardi Trophy in a situation where many people thought that what you were doing was a negative draw, a distraction?
Not necessarily vindication. I think, internally, we've had a team, full of players that have been active in their communities, that have been speaking out on injustices, and we've had a great environment. I think everyone has been watching to see if that was going to be a distraction or not, but in our locker room, and it hadn't been, and no point was it. And so I think right now we're an example that athletes can be active in their communities. They can speak up, use their voices, have other interests, and still focus on the game and still have success as a team. It's not divisive. It's not a distraction like they like to paint it. If anything, I think all of the things that have happened off the field this year has brought us closer together as a team. Even with all the attention that we've gotten, we've been able to then amplify the platform that we sought out to get.
Couple more things on this subject with the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee from the Philadelphia Eagles, Malcolm Jenkins. You have already been on record that you do not intend, if you are invited, to go to the White House, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is there a part of you though that just thinks that maybe you should go and you get a minute with with the president and face to face, eye to eye? Tell him what your point of view is, and perhaps have a conversation if that's possible.
Yeah, I've heard people bring that up. Like, this is an opportunity to speak. But I've won a Super Bowl when I was in New Orleans, and that's just not how these these trips go. These are just celebratory in nature, and it's really just a photo op. The team is there. The president comes in, takes the picture, and then the president leaves. It's not like there's time to have a sit-down meeting or conversation or one of those environments or settings. So when it comes to the photo op, I'm just not interested in the photo op. But I've been very interested from the beginning in working with legislators and lawmakers, regardless of their party, about these changes that we're trying to make. And I'm still open to that and still engaging in those practices. So this has nothing to do with politics. I'm just simply not interested in a photo op.
So what would you say to him, though, Malcolm, if you did get 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes? What would you say?
My conversation would be the same. The reason that players have put themselves out there in front of the world is because we want to make our communities better. We've seen the effects that our criminal justice system has had on communities of color, and we want to change that. We want to end mass incarceration. We want to end the bail cash system. We want to stop sending juveniles to life without parole. We've seen the countless videos of people being killed, really for nothing by police officers. We want to change our relationship between our communities and our law enforcement. We want accountability. And we've seen the differences in our educational system and economic opportunities in these different communities. And we want to be able to make a country that is fair and just and provides opportunities for anybody, no matter what color they are.
Malcolm Jenkins here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's move to the game now. In Super Bowl 52, what do you think you were able to accomplish in this game that helped put you over the top?
Well, our offense had one hell of a day. Just between the ability to play call, guys making some great plays, great catches, great runs, Nick Foles playing out of his mind, and then getting in a shootout, with Tom Brady. Defensively, we realized early, we got a few stops that we needed. And then late in the game, we knew all we needed was one play, and we got it right there at the end. Brandon Graham gets the strip. Derek Barnett scoops it up. And for us, it was fitting because all year we told ourselves it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be a blowout or anything like that. We just need to find a way, and that's exactly what we did.
As the only Malcolm in the secondary in this game to play, I'm wondering, do you have 2 cents on the Malcolm Butler benching as it appears and how it affected things? Because a lot of people think that him being active might have changed the Patriots' fortunes. I'm wondering what you think on that, Malcolm Jenkins.
Well, I got a lot of respect for Malcolm Butler, especially as a player, and I think he's been a starter for them for a reason. So I know even when we saw him not on the field, we were all shocked. And that's players, coaches, and everything, because we understand that he's probably their best or second best corner, depending on how you look at that. So to not have him in that game, in the biggest game of the year with everything on the line, I'm not sure what it was that kept him off of there, but it was definitely surprising. Like I said, he's probably their best option. I think we were preparing for him to be on one of our premier guys. And obviously with him not out there, we feel really good about those matchups. And,
Nick Foles, I got to meet him at a Super Bowl a couple of years ago after he had initial success with Chip Kelly, and I got to meet him, and I really enjoyed just the small, brief chat I had with him. But I'm really beginning to learn a lot more about him, what he had to say after the game about how using failure as an ability to make yourself better, and the way he composed himself and played the last few weeks. He's got a fan for life in me, and I know a whole legion of other people. What have you learned about Nick Foles, Malcolm Jenkins?
Well, I learned that Nick has probably the toughest skin in our locker room. For him to be thrown into a situation like he was, where, the season's rolling and everything is looking great, and all of a sudden we lose the quarterback and he's thrown in. And now, the success of the team, at least to everybody else outside of the room, seems to be hanging on his shoulders, and he played really well against the Giants, threw 4 touchdowns, and our defense couldn't stop anybody. And everything was great. It was a great high, and then all of a sudden, there was some struggles, and then everybody's doubting, not only him, but the success of the team. And so he's carrying that burden, but had enough, strength and faith in himself to to just trust the process. I think he realized that his teammates were behind him, that we had trusted him, that we thought he could get the job done. And he just went to work, man, and blocked out all of that stuff and played lights out for us over the last month.
And what did it mean? How did it permeate the sideline when Doug Peterson went for it on fourth down those 2 times?
He's been aggressive all year, so it wasn't one of those things that was surprising. At that point in the game, we felt like he was taking probably more riskier calls than that one in the past. That one, as soon as Nick kind of walked over to the side, we all recognized what play he had just called because they had practiced it for a few weeks. They were going to run that in the NFC Championship, but never got around to it. And we knew that would probably work. So I'm just glad that Nick caught the ball.
And lastly for you, Malcolm, look, I mean, just as everything that we've talked about this team and Foles and Wentz and your coach and how it was all playing out on that field. My favorite part about this, and you just tell me what you think, and if I'm wrong, if I'm way off, my favorite part about all this is when it all came down to it, when you needed that play, you turned to a Michigan man to get the turnover on defense, Malcolm. And that's what you needed. That's my favorite part.
Or you can look at it the other way.
And that's that. What's that?
That when the Patriots needed it all on the line, even after a great game,
mm-hmm.
the guy who went to Michigan lost the ball. Lost the game. It just depends on how you want to look at it,
And plus, also, here's how I look at it too. I guess it all works out on the calls on fourth down for you, Malcolm. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. On fourth down, we always win. Go Bucks.
Hey, man. And one last one for you. We noticed there were no touchdown celebrations or any celebrations at all in the Super Bowl. Did you guys have anything planned? It just didn't come up? What was that? Because you guys were really good at that all year long.
Yeah, I think the situation was just a little bit called for a little bit more seriousness.
Yeah.
We were so locked in. I don't think anybody was planning any celebration.
Well, hey, Malcolm, like I told you, really love the way that you conduct your business, go about it. When you're in Los Angeles again, the chair to my right on my desk is always open for you. Have a great time at the parade, and we'll chat soon, hopefully.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
You got it.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.